Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's energy update. My name is Rebecca Meisel. Thank you for joining me and for tuning in. It makes me so happy to know that you guys are enjoying these readings and these weekly updates. I do owe you guys an apology for not being able to record last week's reading. I had a lot on my plate, I had a lot going on, and I just wasn't in the right frame of mind to do the recording at the time. So I do want to summarize last week's themes because I do feel like a lot of us might need that. So let me know how this resonates. But I do want to do a quick recap of our last week's themes because I did channel and I did write all the information. I just didn't get to the actual recording part. So I'd love to do that with you guys now. So I want to summarize last week and then move into this week's energies, which are absolutely beautiful and amazing. But I've been really called to share last week's notes because they were just so beautiful. So, our first theme for last week, for December 3rd through to the 10th, we had this really strong restless energy. And I feel like some of us might still be feeling this. And it's really this they're just showing me a person between two worlds where it's like one foot in the past, one foot in the future in this new chapter. And there might have been this like back and forth energy where it's just like, oh my God, I feel like I'm being held back and I'm not really fully in this new chapter yet. And that can be very frustrating and irritating. And so we might have had this theme really prevalent last week where we were just this in between state. And there's confusion around that. You know, a lot of us have been questioning those big questions in life where it's like, what is authentic to me? Who am I right now? You know, who have I become? And a lot of our interests have been changing. And that's what they're kind of showing me is a lot of us are getting more in alignment with who we really are authentically. And so things that used to resonate might not be resonating anymore, you know, and that's challenging. A lot of people don't speak about that, where it's like, you know, yes, it's exciting to evolve and adapt and to change and get to know yourself even deeper. But there's challenge with that too, because there's a goodbye of the old, there's a shift and a change. So, what was really coming through last week was this releasing the need for this confusion and hard work. Okay. So, this is what was interesting. A lot of us have been in this mindset of programming where we need to have this earning, okay? Where it's like we must earn goodness in our life. We must work. We must have productivity. We must constantly be doing. And a lot of this theme was really coming through for us this past week, where it's like we might have noticed, okay, I'm kind of tired and I feel like I'm forcing myself to do this, or I feel like I'm dragging my feet when it comes to certain things that I'm having to do or used to enjoy. So we were getting this awareness of where we were doing work unnecessarily. So what kind of channeled through was no results, restlessness, and inability for change. So we might have been in this mindset, right? Where it's like, nothing's coming of all my hard work, nothing's bearing fruit. I'm restless, nothing's moving forward. I'm feeling stuck, right? And this like pull back, okay, and resistance to making this new headway. So, what channel next was releasing the need for lessons and work. How can you make your life the easiest process? Do what is most enjoyable, do what is most loving. Promote ease and grace, not struggle and strive. See where you are adhering to productivity equaling your worth and value. Let go and be free. Be harmonious. Be joyful with what will help your soul sing today. So I love this so much because once again, it's giving us a different perspective of how to deal with our challenges and how we perceive them and how we move forward. So it was interesting. I had a session recently, and I don't think she'll mind me sharing this tidbit that came through for her. And it was just so wonderfully put. You know, it was like, what is, a lot of times I ask that question, what is most loving for you to do? But some of us, if we've been a stranger to unconditional love, if we haven't really felt that and experienced that, we might not even know what that looks like, what that feels like. So when it comes to our own relationship of self and making pivotal life decisions, it's like, well, I don't even know what's the most loving thing for me to do. I've only known the struggle and strive, or I've only known this way of being. So to think about what's actually loving for me might actually be a bit confusing for me. Like, what is the best thing for me? I don't know. Right. So what came through is, what is the easiest? What has the most flow? Right? That's another way we can look at it. And that really seemed to strike her differently, because she's like, oh, okay, I can wrap my head around that. Like, what's the easiest transition for me? What has more of flow and less resistance? And it was such a great tidbit that really stuck with me, where it was like, yeah, what's the easiest way I can move through life? Because a lot of times unconsciously, we tend to create challenge and more of that momentum of struggle and strive. So when we think of what is most loving for us, well, how can I make things flow? How can I make things easier for myself? And sometimes that means slowing down and honoring our needs. Sometimes that means embracing the divine feminine and going, oh, yeah, if I'm rested, I can take this challenge on so much better and more efficiently the next day. Right. So that's an example of how to make things easier on ourselves. Or, hey, you know what? I'm going to delegate, right? Maybe I don't have to personally be responsible for all of this to do list. Maybe I can ask someone to pitch in and help, right? So these are some examples that we're really needing to look at. And that was really coming up this past week and just might cross over to this week as well. Okay. So promote ease and grace, not struggle and strive. See where you are adhering to productivity equaling your worth and value. So once again, where are we needing to be busy so we feel worthy of rest? So we feel worthy of having a reward. Really think of that. Am I on the top of my priorities, or am I at the bottom? Right? So really let go and be free. So being harmonious, be joyful. What will help your soul sing today? I love this. What if we each woke up and started our day like that? Like, what makes my soul sing? What is it that makes me feel excited and happy to be alive and full of life force energy? Right? Do that. Prioritize that and see how it changes your experience. This is what we're really being called to do. So, next one channel was believe in yourself. Believe in the miracles of life. Stop being so pessimistic. See through the illusions of separation and self doubt. You are not the exception. You deserve love. You deserve success. Believe it. Prioritize what you love. Find out what that is. What brings excitement? What brings peace? As we uncover what brings these emotions, we may also reveal what does not. Okay. So this is super interesting. So a lot of us might be sidetracked with the negative, right? We might get bombarded. We might get overwhelmed. There might be a lot of things that are trying to get our attention, that are almost sabotaging our experience. And we have to come to this awareness that we're at Earth School. Okay. And this keeps coming through. It's like, remember that everything we see and seems like a huge big deal is an illusion. Okay. Every challenge, everything, it is an illusion. It's to help us grow. It's to help us learn what lessons we signed up to learn in this incarnation. So when we start recognizing, like, oh, this is actually like a play, this is like being in a play, we recognize that these things really aren't as big and demanding as we think. We just have to see that hidden lesson and read between the lines sometimes. And so that's what was coming through here, where it was like, stop viewing as everything as the end of the world and shouldering all of that. It's like, okay, what's the lesson? So when we get faced with a challenge, can we not first ask that instead of immediately, taking on this burden and obsessing about that and what's not working and what's wrong? how can we once again see our challenges and problems and issues as for us? So this week we're being challenged. Stop the pessimism. Of course, feel how you feel, right? We have to honor that first, always. I'm never saying ever to forego your emotions. We need to feel that. But what we really can do to move forward in a positive way is really see those challenges as for us, keeping our power, right? So see through the illusions of separation and self doubt. So separation was really coming up last week, and it might very well be coming in this week as well, because I'm seeing some healing really happen with that, where it's like these people don't believe what I believe, so we're going to have space, right? Or there's just going to be division, there's just going to be divide, and there's nothing I can do about it, right? We might have that kind of issue that arises. And we might also view that separation when it comes to ourselves, where it's like we make ourselves the exception. Like, well, everybody deserves happiness and success, but I don't get that. It just doesn't happen for me. Right. So we can see how dangerous that trap can become because we're making ourselves the exception to goodness in our lives. And that's actually bringing separation between you and love, you and what is loving for you, you and the oneness of the universe that wants to always give to you. So notice where you're making yourself the exception and reinforce a new story. I deserve love. I deserve success, and I need to believe it. So, how we can start believing is by prioritizing what we love, right? By connecting with what we love and being more in that energy, right? So, prioritize that, find out what that is. So, some of us, once again, we might not really know, right? Oh, well, I don't know what's loving for me. I don't know what I love to do anymore. It's been so long since I've ever thought of myself, right? Been so long, I put everyone else ahead of me, right? So we might have this awareness that comes in, and we might have to do a little inner discovery, trying new things, following the voice of our intuition. And that might look different every day. We might be led to something different every single day. So that was really coming through this week, is following that voice of intuition. But what we'll really know is what brings excitement, what brings peace. Okay, those are the things we need to be doing and participating in very regularly, right? So, this next theme that came through was family matters, making peace with your family, laying down the sword. Okay, there was a lot of emotions of hurt and betrayal that came up this past week. But what came through was these are no longer your story. Let them go. Let the past go. Speak your truth and let it be done. This chapter is now closed. Accept what is. Stop going to the empty well. There is nothing for you there. Instead, focus on the joy and fulfillment you have now. Rebuild solid foundations, new relationships founded on love. See the challenging relationships as the guides to the lessons you needed to learn, the catalysts for your growth. What were they helping you learn? Have you learned the lesson? What hidden hurt still needs to be heard and revealed? Okay. And they were showing some of this hurt come through in the physical form. So release the need for a negative outcome. Could this chapter end and finish in peace? What a beautiful thought, right? So we need to go through this theme where we have been hurt, where we might have had some issues in our relationships. And there was a very big focus on family specifically this past week. So any of those really close connections and those challenges, those relationships that challenge us the most, right? There might have been a lot coming up with that this past week. And so what was really coming through was how can we come to peace, right? Because it's not even for them, it's for us. It's for us to be able to move forward. It's for us to let the past go and close that chapter. And that was really coming up this past week. So if you've been noticing a lot of hurt coming up, a lot of grief coming up, a lot of sensitive emotions coming up this past week, that is very much why we're being called to purge and release these old things that we've held inside of us and to honor these emotions that have been stuck inside of us. And if our physical bodies have been acting up, that's also why it's like finally releasing these wounds and these emotions that we buried in survival mode, right? Are now coming through and they're releasing. So we might have this reawakening of old physical hurts and ailments and emotional wounding that we need to honor and let go of. So really let yourself do that. But honor the closed door, right? We need to close the door to the past. We need to let that go. So instead, focus on joy and fulfillment and the solid and loving relationships in your life. Okay, so really, if you haven't already, go into those challenging relationships and recognize them for once again what they are, an opportunity for us to grow, an opportunity for us to learn from. So they are the catalysts for us. So what is the lesson that they've been here to teach us? So go into that, maybe do a journal session with that. Have you learned that lesson? Right? So, why is there a need for this conflict? Why is there a need for this disharmony? And then really narrow that down. So, what channeled next was do not focus on what you let go, but what you gain. Heart healing is occurring now. Surrender to peace, surrender to love. Your soul needs it. It fought long enough. It's hurt long enough. It's time to pour out all that pain and seal the door shut and return to the full expression of you, love. So to do so, we must recognize our wholeness, our worth, and our humanness. Welcome home and accept all parts of yourself, good and bad, darkness and light. No longer condemn yourself or any parts of you. They make you, you. Let go of the perfect design, the impossible standard. Fulfill your unmet need, acceptance. Okay, so this is very interesting. They were bringing forward this energy of mirroring within these relationships. So, wanting love and approval and acceptance from other people, right? That might be a big dominant need that we have, where it's like, I just need this person to love me. I need this person to accept me just as I am, right? This is a common theme that a lot of us battle with. And it's really frustrating when we don't get it from others or we don't get the validation we're craving from others, like our parents, as an example. That's a huge one for a lot of us. We just want that approval. It's inherent within us. So, what would be that need? We need approval. So, that being said, are we giving that approval to ourselves? So, what channeled was wanting love, approval, and acceptance. But are we loving, approving, and accepting of ourselves, right? So we need to once again see these mirrors. So connect with the angels of healing for light and love. They will show you yourself in your true form. They will remind you of your true family, the one you always wanted. They will show you that you are and never have been alone. Your sacred prayers have been heard, and they have all been gathered and placed in their hearts. So, this was when a specific guardian angel came forward, and I want to read what channel because I feel like this transcends anyone's guardian angel. Was these words. So this is what channeled. You are me as I am you. So showing me oneness, that aspect of oneness. Your pain is my pain. And I have looked after you all of the years of your life. I have seen every battle, every teardrop. I have seen every sweet, soft sorrow your heart has ever endured. And I am here now, and I am going to fill your heart with every beautiful and delicate thing. I am pointing you in the direction of happiness and fulfillment. You need only look and see. See it now pouring into your life. And then he showed me the rainbow. Remember, you are the bridge between worlds. Heaven and earth both reside within you. Now you will know the harmony of both. You are becoming whole. Welcome yourself home. Call yourself home. Be at peace. This is what you deserve. Surrender the past, surrender all of which you cannot control, and trust. Trust yourself, trust your capability. Come to know the sweetness of life. It is yours now. Isn't that absolutely stunning? So, an absolutely beautiful reading for last week. So I really feel a lot of these themes, once again, they might have challenged us. They might have come up and we might have been feeling a lot of this pain and separation. But this is all coming to closure. This is all coming up so we can really get this final release. So I want to move into our next reading here. So for this week now, December 10th through to the 17th. And we have some really beautiful themes this week, real positive themes. So I'm really excited to move into this one. So our first theme with this one was count your blessings. Feeling blessed beyond measure, taking stock of the beauty within and around you without resistance. So this was really nice because they were really bringing this awareness of where we might have held back in the past. And even last week, where we were focusing on that resistance that was happening, not moving forward. I am stuck. Nothing's coming forward for me. Good things don't happen. Whatever that might be, that might have been coming in. But this week, we're clearing the path. We're clearing the resistance. And they're showing me that the heart chakra is really opening. So we've had this huge theme of this giving and receiving imbalance and this worthiness aspect. So a lot around the heart chakra the past while. And that has really been purging. So have that awareness this week of where you've purged or where you may be continually purging. But know that it is because it's opening your heart. You are getting ready to love again, to open up to goodness in your life. So we need to take note of that. So this week, count your blessings. Find a way to be very grateful for what is coming through for you. You are blessed beyond measure, right? So learn to fill your own cup with love and every good thing. So we have this other theme coming in of cultivating loving relationships. So this week there is going to be a highlight on our relationships again. So what do we need to see in those relationships? Now, what came in right after this was redefining loyalty. Now, this was super interesting. So, some of us might have had this very strong sense of loyalty to people in our lives. And they're actually showing me like loyalty to the wrong individuals. So, as an example, maybe we grew up with a family that we only knew a specific way of being with, right? So we only knew what we knew, right? We grew up in this family. This was acceptable. This wasn't. We'll use that as an example. So we have this strong family value where it's like, we all need to be close. We all need to be together. And I'm going to be unwaveringly loyal to my family because they're blood, right? A lot of us grow up with that family first mentality. But what we're starting to recognize this week is where we've been betraying ourselves for loyalty to other people. And so that's where I'm seeing a balance wanting to come in this week, where we're learning to actually put ourselves first and we're releasing and redefining that word, loyalty, where it's like, actually, I've been betraying myself my whole life because this is what my family asked of me, or this is what my family wanted me to be. And I am loyal to them. So I put everything to that person, to that family, to my parents, whatever that might be for yourself. And we're getting this awareness of how that's been so damaging for our own well-being and how we've been disloyal to ourselves and betrayed ourselves. So this week we have this theme coming through of honesty, where we need to get really honest and see the truth, where we've been doing that, where we've been sacrificing ourselves unnecessarily, where we've been putting ourselves last, where we haven't been living a fulfilling and authentic life because we've been holding back for other people. So we need to redefine loyalty and really cultivate unconditional love in our relationships. So this is what channeled cultivating loving relationships, redefining loyalty to self, and becoming selective in who you focus on and spend time. Okay. So last week, this week, we might have awareness. Who is really on my team? Who's really on my side? Who's really showing up for me? Who has shown up for me? Who's interested in my life? Who really is there when I need someone? And where have I been betraying myself on behalf of other people, right? Where do I need to put myself first? Where do I need to get honest and see what real relationships are in my life? And how can I feed my energy, my precious, sacred energy and heart and love into those who really are there for me, who really unconditionally love me? Okay. So who lights me up? Who supports me? Who is there? Right? These are questions we have to ask ourselves this week. And I'm feeling like we're going to get a lot of clarity when it comes to family, loyalty, and getting honest about who really is healthy for us and what people we want to bring forward in this next chapter. Okay, so we need to be selective. So becoming our own best friend and practicing being our own best friend. Okay, so this was really huge. When we're someone's best friend, I find like we can be very protective of our best friend, right? Because it's like, that's my best friend. I'm not going to let anything hurt my best friend. You better watch out if you try to hurt my best friend, right? We have this mentality when we unwaveringly love someone and we see how awesome they are and how precious they are and how special they are, we will do anything to make sure that their well-being is kept intact. And we defend them, we protect them, we shelter them, we love on them, we have that relationship. So does that define your own relationship with self? Really think about that. Is that how you treat yourself? Because that's how you should be treating yourself. Do you defend yourself? Do you see your greatness? Do you recognize your greatness? Do you hype her up? Do you hype up your best friend? Do you hype up yourself? Are you showing up for yourself, right? So really be mindful. Okay, so next theme, overcoming challenges with grace. Remaining optimistic and staying within our power. Not attaching to old stories around lack and abundance. Okay, so if we have challenges this week, if that comes up for us, I'm really getting old narratives. That's what I just heard. Old narratives. So if old narratives come in this week and you're like, oh my God, I'm stuck. Once again, I'm not moving forward. Whatever that old story is for you, that keeps replaying and your mind's just on a loop, right? It's going to do it. It's a program. So we have to be very mindful of that this week. And be mindful of, once again, how we're responding. So remain optimistic, stay within your power. So honor what comes up. But at this point, what I'm hearing is like a lot of us are aware of our story. You know, as an example, there's a big theme around abundance this week. So say we have a really big narrative around lack, right? So nothing ever good happens for me, or, you know, money doesn't grow on trees, you know, that kind of story. Whatever those stories are, I'm hearing we're aware of it. So if we're aware of it, we don't want to feed into it anymore. So that means if we felt what we needed to feel about it, if we've been sad about it, if we really worked through that wound, which I'm hearing a lot of us have, we just need to call out the program now. So it's just our mind going back to that same loop of negativity. So what I'm hearing is we need to reprogram. So stopping and not participating in the story anymore, right? We have that choice. Every day we have that choice if we're going to participate or not. So are we going to keep feeding that loop? That's up to you this week, right? So they're really saying own your power. Say no to old stories, to old narratives that do not serve you, that do not help you, right? We actually have a huge theme of anxiety and worry. So, once again, this might be surrounding finances, abundance, those things, and those can be very scary. But don't feed into those stories. What can you do, right? What can you do? So, not attaching to old stories around lack and abundance. Okay, this is very specific. Practicing connecting with and feeling abundance. So, this is what was really neat. They were showing me like a disconnect to abundance. So, some of us, this is going to resonate for some of us. Okay. So, for those of us who do resonate with this lack mentality, listen up. Okay. Because this is super interesting. So, we logically know, okay, the universe is abundant. There's abundance everywhere. We know that. A lot of us know, okay, abundance is an energy. I just need to tap into it. I need to attract, right? So we might logically know all of this information, but have we connected with it? Okay, this is the defining difference between knowing and feeling. And we need to feel it. Okay. So, what they were showing is like a disconnect with the heart chakra. So, once again, the heart chakra might be denying abundance is real, denying that abundance could be possible for you because your heart has been told the story it doesn't deserve. You are the exception. You don't get to have what you want. Right. So, if this has been our story, and a lot of this is so unconscious, right? We have to remember that. Maybe we grew up with that mentality. So that means your whole life, maybe up until this moment, you've believed this. So, how many years has that been that you've been looping this story and you've been telling your heart this subconsciously? So, your heart is going to do everything it can to protect you from hurt, right? So, it's going to close off. It's going to, well, you know what? It's easier for me to shut off than to try to connect with abundance because that's just hurtful for me because that means I don't ever get to have it, right? So this is a defense mechanism that some of us have put in place. So we need to have awareness to where our hearts have closed off to abundance, whether that be emotional abundance, whether that be relationship abundance, whether that be just abundance in general, finances, whatever type of abundance and form that you're resistant to. Okay. We need to be aware of that. That even means receiving love, right? Where we might have closed off because, no, that's too hurtful, right? If I'm vulnerable, that's hurtful. So we shut off our heart. So this is what a lot of us are doing. The heart chakra has been closed. It hasn't been opening and welcoming abundance, which means it's not feeling it. Okay. What does our heart do? It feels. It's representative of our emotions, of our love and relationships in life. So, what is our relationship to abundance? Have we been having a beautiful relationship with that or not? Right. So, these are things we need to consider this week. And they're really bringing this in that we need to connect with abundance fully. And that means emotionally being open to that possibility in your life. So, bring awareness. What's that illusion I have that's blocking my third eye? What's that illusion, right? That's been keeping me from love and receiving goodness in my life, right? So name that story. What is it? What is that story that's blocking your abundance, that's blocking your heart? We need to let that story go. Cut the cord to that story if that's needed. Okay. Release that energy. It's not going to be your story anymore because we know, right? Our soul knows. Of course you deserve. Of course you are worthy, right? So it's just these programs we have to release and open up that emotions again, open up the heart again. So, with that, we need to practice connecting with abundance. So, what came through was actually doing a meditation where we set intentions before we meditate and go, help me, guides, to open my heart and feel what it feels like to be abundant and really connect with that without resistance. Okay. Because a lot of times when we think of being given, say, $1 million, some of us, our first response might be like, oh my God, no, which is interesting because we want $1 million. Everybody wants $1 million. But is there resistance in your heart? Is there resistance in your body that's like, oh, that's uncomfortable? Like our first knee jerk reaction might be, ooh, oh, yikes, which is so the opposite of what we want, right? So we need to practice getting comfortable with abundance. We need to start feeling abundant. And that is how we are going to shift the narrative, how we're going to shift the story. So practice connecting. So meditate, feel into what that would feel like, and notice the resistance that comes up so you can be aware of that story and release it. Okay, so practice connecting and feeling into abundance. Redefine what success looks like and really feels like. Okay, releasing criticism and outcomes. Okay, so this is another big thing that might be sabotaging our forward movement is our self-criticism. Okay, so that really can sabotage our forward movement. If we don't believe in ourselves, if we're not being that positive reinforcement, if we're criticizing and nitpicking every little detail of what we're producing, of what we're doing every day, it's going to be really hard to move forward. It's going to be really hard to ever feel good enough to be able to really showcase your gifts in this world. So we need to release the criticism. Okay. We need to come once again to acceptance and being perfectly imperfect, right? This is so huge. And release the need for an outcome. So when they were saying like feel into abundance, some of us might attach our abundance to certain things happening. So as an example, like we might have attached success to making money, but that might not actually be true for us, right? So allow yourself to be open with whatever that form takes. So when you meditate, you might be shown something totally different that you didn't expect. And that's going to be what abundance means for you, right? Or we might just need to redefine. So that's what I'm here. We need to release the criticism and we need to release that specific outcome. Okay. We need to let the journey of life be what the journey of life will be. That's what you've signed up for, right? So stop looking at success in such a linear way. So our next theme, a balanced approach to life. Look where there is disharmony. How can you regulate or remedy it? Okay, so this is actually really coming up in our emotions this week. So strong emotions this week, purging the past to make room for the new future that we are manifesting. Manifesting dreams and abundance in the process. Do not judge your emotions. Practice non-judgment. Honor and let go. Okay, so this was very cool because once again, we're doing this purging process. We're releasing the past, we're releasing the old stories. And with that, they were just showing me like a lot of this residual toxins coming to the surface. And we just need to see them, honor them, feel bad for a couple days. That's okay. And then let it flush out, just like a traditional detox, right? So what we need to do is practice that non-judgment. So if we feel something really strongly, feel it and then let it flow. Let it go, right? So whatever needs to be honored that we were not able to honor in our past, and we touched on that for last week's themes, same thing this week. That continues. So we need to get in touch with those old hurts, those old wounds that perhaps we weren't able to fully feel when we were in a space of survival mode, when we were going through it. A lot of times we turn off our emotions when we go through big, overwhelming things. And so we're now in a space where this is free to come up and release. So once again, notice it, honor it, feel it, but let it flow, let it go. Okay, so we're purging the past to make room for the new future. So don't attach to those stories again. Don't go, oh yeah, okay, now this is all hurting me again. This is all coming through again. Don't attach to it. Feel it, let it go. Okay. Now, what this is doing is making way. It's making room. Okay. So much in the heart this week. We're making room in our hearts to welcome good because it was so full of all the bad. It was so full of all the hurt, all the grief, all the loss. We're clearing that out now. So guess what? There's going to be room for love. There's going to be room for our dreams. There's going to be room for hope and faith and beauty and gratitude now, right? What? How awesome. Abundance. We're making space. So don't judge the emotions. Okay. Honor, let them go. Realize what you're doing. You're moving forward. So next here, redefine your needs and joy. How can I live my best life? Find balance between heaven and spiritual and physical. Okay, so this was super interesting. How can you live your best life, right? So once more, we're letting go of the old, what doesn't work, what's hurting us, what's not beneficial for us, so we can really focus on the goodness, okay? And what channeled next was very apt. It says, adjust and consciously choose your attitude towards challenges. What can we control? What can we do? Remain true to you. This too shall pass. Okay. So once again, we might have challenges, but we are in more control than we realize. We're in control of our actions. We're in control of our reactions. Okay. So where they were bringing in this balance between heaven and earth. Okay, this is super interesting. So we're balancing and harmonizing our spiritual sides and our earthly sides, right? So how can I have a firm foundation physically, meet my needs physically, and also balance my spiritual side, right? So that's what we're doing. We're harmonizing both. And there's been a very strong emphasis on the root chakra energies. So our physical worlds, our relationships, all of that, what's going on in our earthly life and earthly journey. And that's been needed. Okay. That's been really, really needed. Okay. So from there, asking ourselves, who do I want to be? Right? Who do I want to be? Now, this is really interesting. This is what channeled. Not following in our parents' footsteps. Okay, now this is interesting. Now, at first, some of us might not resonate with this. We're like, well, I have wonderful parents. My parents are wonderful people. And that could very well be. Okay, this is not a judgment on your parents. What this means is learning from your parents' mistakes. Okay, so a lot of us, well, all of us, we're human, right? That includes our parents. Our parents have made mistakes. Okay, it's unavoidable. We were placed with those parents to learn from those mistakes. So have you seen those mistakes and have you honored them and gone, without judgment, right? We're not here to judge our parents, but we're here to learn from them. And they've taught us a lot too. So how can we take both sides of the coin? What we love about our family and our parents and how we started, and then what we don't love about our parents and how we started, and honoring both and going, okay, well, what is it that I have of value from both of these sides of the coin? And how can I apply it now to my life and help me understand who I want to be, right? So some of us might have very stark, obvious ones, right? Like if we did have, parents that weren't kind or loving, then we might immediately be like, you know what? I want to be kind and loving. I want to give all children a safe space, or it might be simple as like your parents weren't good with money, right? Oh, well, I want to be good with money, right? I don't want to follow that same path, right? I don't want to follow the family trauma, all of that inherited trauma. I'm ready to shift and be the cycle breaker, right? So we need to learn from those mistakes. And we need to honor the triggers we get from that too, right? So what triggers you about your parents, about your family? What are those triggers? Identify those triggers this week. What lesson is there to learn, right? So if you grew up in a home with conditional love, maybe you want to learn unconditional love, right? That's an example. So, how can I love without conditions? How can I live my best life? How can I not repeat the mistakes of my family and those programs? How can I create my own path? Right? This is what was being called to reflect on this week. So, nurture your divine feminine, know it in healthy balance, embrace, slow down, and meet your needs. Do not chase, attract. Okay, so this might very well be a real repetitive pattern for generations in our family as well, where many of our family were not able to have that luxury, right? To slow down, to take care of themselves, to have more free will. A lot of our family and generations were stuck in that struggle and strive and survival mode, right? So this is a prime example where we can change this. So I want to heal that lineage. I want to heal my family. I want to heal myself. I don't want to repeat this pattern. So nurture yourself, right? This is something we really need to do this week. Nurture yourself, nurture the divine feminine. Know what that looks like, right? We need to practice. Embrace, slow down, meet your needs. Do not chase, attract. So engage in self-care, focus your energies on peace. What is authentic to you? Make peace your priority. Do not give your power to the mind. Let it rest. Rest your heart. Rest your soul. And peace will come. Flow. Okay? So be responsible, become the loving parent. Focus on giving the gift of love, right? So this is super interesting. A lot of us have been in this struggle and strive mentality for a long time, really tapping into that divine masculine and not the feminine. So what channeled was, haven't you done enough? Haven't you done enough? What would happen if you just let it go? Try it. 1 month of following your bliss. See what happens. Meet your needs. Speak your needs to the universe and watch them be fulfilled. This is word for word what channeled. Try it. 1 month where you dedicate yourself to following your bliss, where you dedicate yourself to following the answers and the call of your heart. We get so caught up in the do and the productivity and the go, go, go. They're giving us this beautiful opportunity to challenge that narrative and try life a new way, where life literally becomes about us again, where life literally becomes a life of love again. And we're healing so much when we do that, when we show up for ourselves the way we've needed to be shown up for, and we give ourselves that permission to live authentically. So what a beautiful challenge and what a beautiful way to end this week's reading. So there's nothing to worry about, my friends. Shift your perspectives, shift your attitude when it comes to challenges this week. Learn from the people around you, those challenging relationships. Really get grounded and keep your power as things come around. And know that abundance is yours. Connect with it, feel into it. And I know all of these things are going to change your life. They're going to radically change your life. Our guides are so loving. They want us to experience this for ourselves. They want us to have the best human experience we possibly can. Yes, we're going to have lessons. Yes, we're going to have challenges, but it's all about how we choose to face them, react to them, move through them. So I know you guys can do this. And if I can be of service to you in any way, if I can help in any way, please reach out. I will leave all my details below. Sending you all so much love and light. Have a beautiful rest of your week, my friends. Bye.